PD Beats here from Pop Turn to speak to Ashley Liao about The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is now in theaters. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, it's a crazy feeling because, you booked this role, iconic world, The Hunger Games. You wrap, you wait until it comes out, and now people are finally able to see it. Like, does it start to kind of hit you like a week out that people are going to finally be able to see what you worked on? Like, it's pretty crazy.
Oh man, I think it hit me when I was walking on that red carpet and I had a second in between like a few interviews and I kind of just like took it all in and was like, "Oh, wow, it's real, like the lights and the decorations, like it was it hit me very quickly in that exact moment. But yes, it is finally hitting me now. And wow, I can't believe it.
A big part of kind of the world, specifically in like Songbirds and Snakes, is, there's the mentors and the tributes and everything. You're obviously kind of involved with the mentors and that world a little bit. But from a storytelling actor perspective, Ashley, are you interested in kind of gathering as much knowledge as you can about the whole world, like not just the mentors, the tributes, or are you really kind of focusing on the mentors?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, growing up watching the entire Hunger Games like series and franchise, it was something that I definitely did rewatch all of them again, and I did a marathon. And unfortunately, and fortunately, you can see that on Letterboxd. It was just 3 days of me watching Hunger Games. But no, I mean, I definitely did research on kind of the fact that this is set during the 10th annual Hunger Games, I think gives us some perspective into how far back we're really going. And so everyone in the Capitol has this kind of, not accent per se, but they talk in a very specific, kind of way. And so I think with Clemencia, over enunciating was a big one for her. I was like, I need to make sure that we kind of have a very fluid path into how they started speaking like that.
I mean, you touched on it a little bit, but like, would you say you had a really kind of big kind of look at a lot of the source material? Like, what was the overall kind of relationship with the source material? Because at the end of the day, like, yes, there's the past films, there's the books, but this is the movie, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So they're separate things. So I'm just curious how into the original source material you are, because I feel like it depends on the project. Maybe you don't want to look at it as much, right?
I mean, if I open up my copy of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, it's highlighted to the gods. And like, I got notes in the margins of very specific things that were muttered, in the book that she says that maybe are kind of in the background of the film. And I want to make sure that like those things were said. I don't know if they necessarily made the cut. But things like that, where you wouldn't necessarily know that was happening unless I believe you had read the book. And there's a few kind of instances of that.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things about the Hunger Game fans as well, Ashley, is the fact that these movies, like, the world kind of ticks a lot of boxes because there's so much happening. There's the action because there literally are games, the Hunger Games. And then there's, the love stories and the character developments and the growth and all of that. So you have like fans that will love it more because they like the action. Some they'll love the love and the character growth and everything. Do you notice that like immediately when you kind of sign on to the Hunger Games that it does have all of these elements and it's basically like a genre bending project? Like I feel like people forget about that sometimes.
No, and I absolutely love that about kind of the world building that's been happening with the original ones, and especially this one. It is so much more than just a story about, a relationship, and so much more than just the Hunger Games. And so we're really able to kind of see all of that in this prequel. And yeah, I think it's a fantastic addition. I might be biased, but yeah, in terms of like
I'm not biased, and I'll say it's a fantastic addition. How about that?
It's pretty great. Yeah, I'm so thrilled that like fans love it. I'm thankful that like, and I keep saying this, the Hunger Games franchise, like we admire the fans. The fans are really would have driven all of this like buzz, and I'm so incredibly grateful that like they've been welcoming and warm and love Clemencia.
It's very vague what I'm about to say, but like it's so big. You know what I mean by that? Like the story, the scale, like it's such a big movie. You know what I mean?
One of the ways that, like after I found out that I booked this job and I wasn't allowed to tell anyone, I did tell my very close friends, but I didn't tell them what it was. I told them I booked a role and I can't tell you what it is, but I can whistle for you. And I literally whistled and I went, and they went, and I think that right there like tells you kind of how much power this name holds and like how recognizable globally the Hunger Games is, and because I was able to whistle 4 notes and my friends knew instantly like something regarding, I was like, yes, but I won't tell you anything else.
Absolutely. And I just want to know because, you know, it's at the end of the day, whether it's different genres, it's all storytelling and everything. But I'm just curious, actually, from a kind of acting storyteller perspective, if there are kind of these, you know, similarities and kind of preparing that you do on one project that kind of transfers to the other. Like maybe it depends, but like, because it's different characters in different worlds. But like, do you take stuff from Fuller House and kind of put that towards Love in Taipei? Do you take things from Love in Taipei and does it go to Songbirds and Snakes? Like, does it work like that depending on the project?
You know, yes, I would say. I think it's more like experience
Yeah.
in a weird way than anything, where it's like I'm really grateful to have had so much experience at so young to be able to get onto a massive production like the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and not necessarily feel like intimidated, nervous maybe, but not necessarily intimidated by the scale of it, because I know that, you know, one of the best days that I had on set was one where it was just Viola and Tom and me from the cast, and I really got to know our crew and like Francis and Nina so intimately, and this very larger than life production felt really intimate and personal on days like that.
And to kind of add to that as well, because, you know, when you're reading the script for the movie, that's like a whole journey on its own, right? Like you haven't even, like you booked a role, but you haven't filmed it yet, right? But then like you talking about like Viola and Tom and everything, that's a whole different journey because you're there and it's happening. Is that always going to be a fascinating thing, that kind of journey from the script to the screen for you as an actor? Because I feel like that's one of the coolest things when I do interviews with amazing storytellers like yourself. I love hearing about that kind of journey because they're two different journeys if you think about it.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think reading the script, I try to imagine like how these phenomenal actors were going to take on the role, but like I really couldn't see it until it happened, and then I was like, yeah, no one else could have had this. And I think that that's something that like I've been told about me for characters, and I just was like, I don't see it, but thank you, you know, I'll take the compliment. But yeah, that's kind of when it hit me, where I was like, no one else was going to be able to play Dr. Gall quite like this was, you know, like it, she just was, she walked on set in character, and I was like, she is part, like, and how phenomenal, because that means I get to work with Viola Davis, you know.
Did you, because I know it was filmed in Germany and Poland, did you get to work in both Germany and Poland, or was it mainly in one of those countries specifically?
Yeah, so I know that a lot of the stuff that dealt with the arena was filmed in Poland, and
Yes.
so I was not in Poland. I was in Germany.
Okay.
And then that scene where it's all of us all together, both mentors and tributes, that was filmed in Leipzig, Germany.
Okay, so you were in Germany. You didn't go to. So did any mentors go to Poland at all? Aside from like, okay, yeah, okay.
Some of them did.
Yeah.
Not.
No, for sure. And well, you know, we're not gonna go into super big spoilers and anything, but the movie's been out for a while. I don't know. It's still fresh for everything, but you know, there's been an unbelievable kind of reception of your character online. There's a lot of love for Clemencia and everything. Like, it's pretty crazy. There's not much words to describe it, right? It's the global kind of love too.
I'm so grateful, and I think that because I have people that are like messaging me that are like, I'm 13, I was your age when you first started watching this, and like I've always wondered where like the Asian people were, and now like you're here. And I was like, yeah, like it really hit me that, you know, the impact of Clemencia is not just the fact that, you know, she's like an it girl and is confident and like is a girl boss, but also the fact that they chose me, someone who's like Taiwanese American, to get to play her means so much, not just to the franchise, but also, you know, to like Asian Americans. And that really is something that is very special to me. So it's not something that I grew up with, and it's something that I hope, you know, the next generation or this generation doesn't have to grow up with.
100%. No, that's so well said. And, you know, I want to kind of add to it as well, too, with, you know, what I talked about the, you know, adapted, like the source material, right? The original Hunger Game books and everything. And there's a lot of incredible things that we see on TV and film, actually, that are adapted from books and everything. You know, Love in Taipei is a perfect example as well. So my question for you there is, do you see that as like an exciting challenge as an actor when you get to kind of play a character that existed in a book? Because the you know, the possibilities are endless if you think about it, right?
No, it really deeply. I mean, with Love in Taipei, I'm really thankful that the writer of the book, Abigail Hing-Wen, she was able to be on set with us and was also an executive producer on the film. And so it gave me a very close insight as to like who Ever was and what her goals were. And I think I saw a lot of myself in Ever when I was playing her. I felt very, not that like I'm not young and naive at 22, but like at 19, I think I felt so much younger than I do now.
100%.
I'm really grateful so that, we were able to have that source material, but also just the person who wrote it, where I was like, this doesn't make sense, and she'd be like, oh, da 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 da. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's something that I really loved. And I felt that way about Francis Lawrence as well when we were filming Ballad. And
Yeah.
it felt
For me, with Love in Taipei, the self-reflection component, traveling, figuring out, finding love, going to another country, like that was really well done in the movie. Like I love that aspect of it.
It was very real to my real life, like I hadn't thought about going back to Taiwan, like where like the heart of my heart is and like the people of my people are, and getting to go back for work, but also like knowing we were making a film that highlighted, the city of Taipei in a very different light than what I grew up with was really special to me. And I'm still incredibly grateful that they chose me to get to play Ever.
So good. Yeah, you're so good in Hunger Games, but you're also so good at that. There's so many projects to talk about. Right? Like, different projects, different characters. I feel like that's also the coolest thing too. Not only are they different worlds, they're different characters, those two characters.
I'd like to think that maybe Ever and Clemencia are like not on opposite scales of each other, but they're the same kind, like they're the different sides of the same coin. I'll put it that way, where it's like I think Ever is trying to find that confidence in her and trying to figure out what she wants. And I think that's a really beautiful story. But I think it's also equally as interesting to see a woman on screen who's like, I know what I want and I'm confident. And knowing me, if I didn't play Clemencia and I was younger, like I would be looking up to her the most. Like I love her so much.
Absolutely. And last question before we wrap up. Obviously, you're focusing on acting and, bringing these characters to life. But you work on something like Hunger Games, and you mentioned like Ballad of Songbirds Snakes, and you mentioned Viola Davis, and just seeing it and like seeing that as like a masterclass and everything, right? Just seeing the acting and everything, and seeing how everything's made. Do you sometimes like think about like going behind the camera sometimes because you're immersed, right? Seeing everything. Like, do you think about like directing and writing, or is like acting the main thing you kind of mainly focus on? Because I feel like it's hard not to at times, right?
100%. I mean, one of the things that I love doing is script writing. Like I love writing a romance, mainly because they may or may not be like things that I wish had happened in my life that haven't happened. But yeah, I love writing, and I've loved the idea of like directing. Over the summer, I took like a screen kind of writing course, and like it wasn't super in depth, but it gave me a good idea of like, how do I create a tone for, like the color grading of a film or something like that, or like, how does this dialogue sound, and how would I place the cameras and lighting and things like that. Like I've really thought about it, and I love getting to hear from like, especially our boom guys and our boom gals. I love being like, so how'd you get into holding this very light but also very heavy piece of machinery? I'd love to know. I think everyone has a wonderful story about how they get into the industry, and I love hearing all of them because they're always different.
Yeah, I'm a creative as well. I kind of made a short last year as well. I get it. Like I get what I get. It's like it's a magical feeling, something that you like write during the pandemic and then you go and film it. It's a magical feeling. It really is. So I totally get it now. And so the Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds Snakes, we said, is still in theaters, so they can go check it out. And that's so amazing. I'm so happy for you. Ashley, so great chatting with you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Your Instagram account is the best way for people to keep up to date with everything, right? Is it just your name?
It's my name. It's Ashley J. Liao. You could look up my name and it'll probably show up too.
Yeah.
So
and I just
thank God for the algorithm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to also say, like I said, like Hunger Games a few times because it's such a long title. I have said it because I've interviewed some of your cast. I've said Hunger Birds.
Hunger Bird. Yeah. There's a fan account on Twitter who like has been keeping track of the different ways that people would spell the Ballad of Songbirds Snakes, and there are some really good ones. I try to stick with T-Boss, which is the Ballad of Songbirds Snakes, but sometimes people go the Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds Snakes. It's a very
because I did an interview with Mackenzie Lansing, who plays Coral, one of the tributes, and I said Hunger Birds, and we took it on the interview, but I feel like after I have to put it as a blooper because it was really funny.
It's perfect. I mean, Hungry Birds, Angry Birds, whatever.
Yeah,
You know?
I know. She was even like, that might be a video game. Because I was like, what did I say? She's like, hungry. You said Hunger Birds, which might be a video game. And it was the whole thing because it's Angry Birds. But regardless, no, they can catch us, Clemencia, in the Hunger Games, the Songbirds of Ballads and Snakes.
The Songbirds of Ballads and Snakes.
Oh my God. You see, because we just talked about it.
You know what? I'll close this out. Hey guys, you can watch The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It's in theaters now, and Love in Taipei is streaming on Paramount Plus. Thank you so much for being here and for letting me share a piece of my heart with you. GB, you want to take it back?
This has been Popturnative, youtube.com/Popturnative. For previous episodes, you can catch Ashley Liao in The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, now in theaters. Until next time, this is Ashley at PD Beats, signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popturnative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popturnative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.